Welcome back to the show. This is my favorite time each week when I have a guest with me, and this week's no different. I have with me Josh Contraguerro, the Vice President of Marketing at Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
You know, speaking of having you back, you were the third guest ever on the show, all the way back in 2016, and life's changed for you since then. I think you had no kids then, 2 now, and been now in the workplace a little bit longer and kind of more of a part of the real world, so to speak. We were talking more WVU football, which you'd been a part of not too long before that back then.
Yeah, definitely kind of dove into the whole real world quickly, and like you said, a lot has changed, and wouldn't change any of it though, so it's been great.
Good deal. Well, people, see your commercials, hear the Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration jingle. It's funny even hear kids singing it sometimes because they've come to know, and we're gonna save you, and you hear all that. But some people don't know what all the company entails, and that you've got, not just the location in Wheeling where you started, but now Pittsburgh and Morgantown and so many different things to offer now. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of times I try to narrow it down and say if it happens to your home or facility or business, we can take care of it. Whether it is the normal fire, wind, smoke, mold, sewage, water, to flu outbreak and decontamination and biohazard cleanups, to temporary services such as heating and air conditioning, and then still have trucks on the road daily doing carpet cleaning, what we were founded on over 40 years ago. Carpet cleaning, duct cleaning, general specialized cleaning, things like that too.
It's interesting you mentioned the flu outbreaks and things like that, and of course last year you guys went down and took care of the WVU basketball team locker room when the team was kind of, the flu was going around the team, and took care of that. But doing that in places like that, or in schools or office settings or hospitals, really important.
Yeah, a lot of times anywhere where a lot of people interact. So we've done daycares, restaurants. One thing that has been real big through the southern part of the Ohio Valley and up into Ohio has been the hepatitis outbreaks at restaurants. A lot of people don't know because it's something that we don't publicly blast out there, but we go in and have helped many restaurants that have been shut down because of hepatitis outbreaks. So our specialized equipment can be used from hospitals to home for someone that's come back with weakened immune systems. We can go in and sanitize and clean their house for them at a very reasonable cost.
That's interesting. That's one that I had never really thought about as, somebody that, maybe has undergone chemotherapy and does have a weakened immune system. They really have to be careful about not getting infections, and you guys can make sure that when they are coming from the hospital, I guess, back to the house, that's a very clean environment for them as well.
Yes, especially with the weakened immune systems, with chemos, also with the C. diff patients, to make sure that they don't come back and get reinfected.
This time of year, of course, a busy time for you all as well, especially when you get these, cold cycles where, like we've had recently, where the temperature drops way down, everything's frozen, and thaws back out, and pipes break and things like that. And one of the things I guess that's important is to get on that right away.
Yeah, so definitely with pipe breaks, or what we're experiencing a lot right now this week. A lot of people think the pipes break when it's sub-zero and at 8 degrees and things like that. Actually, it's when the temperatures warm back up, because typically the ice is blocking the broken pipe. So until that ice melts and it gets back up into the 30s and 40s is then when the water lets loose. But yeah, definitely taking care of it right away, getting the materials that can be saved and drying them properly, and also getting materials that cannot be saved, getting them out so that they don't cause secondary damages and other things such as mold and other problems.
One of the things that I've seen you all use, because I've had a water break or two myself at office buildings or homes, things like that, is that you've got these, I guess they're called water meters or something like that, where you can detect if there are things behind walls without having to necessarily cut the wall out and look and see if there's water there.
Yeah, and depending on the situation or the material that's in question, we have a variety of high tech moisture meters and probes. Also, we have infrared cameras that pick up on heat differences and can track water in chases. Just because it's not dripping wet doesn't mean it isn't wet or hasn't been wet at some point. So we can check levels of moisture, and then also during the drying stage we use them to make sure things are drying at the proper time and we don't over dry, because that's just as bad as maybe not drying it properly. Is you have a certain piece of furniture or certain wood floor that it needs moisture content. It doesn't need to be 0% dry, so we make sure that we're not damaging secondary items.
When you come down to your facility, which is located in the South Wheeling area, massive facility and all these trucks, but one of the things, if you go into the facility like I have, is that you see, these drying processes going out, but we also see items that have maybe been damaged but not completely ruined. The homeowner may think that's been completely ruined by a fire or something like that, smoke damage, and they may sometimes be family heirlooms or mementos that are important to someone's life, and you guys are able to oftentimes take care of those as well and get those restored so people still have those family heirlooms or mementos.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the heartfelt things that a lot of our employees that work on that side, to be able to take a family heirloom or a stuffed animal from a child who has since passed, and people don't want to just replace with a teddy bear. They want that teddy bear back, and to be able to sanitize, to clean, but give that particular item back to a homeowner, to a family, makes a world of difference, and you can just see the weight lift off their shoulders because they get that piece of normalcy back to their life.
We needed to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the things that Panhandle does in our community. We may even talk a little bit of WVU football that they're associated with. Stay with us here on the Jamie Bordas Show. Welcome back to the show. I've been speaking with my guest this week, Josh Contraguerro, who's the Vice President of Marketing at Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and been talking about some of the services that Panhandle provides, but also very active in the community, supporting things here in the local area like the Super 6 Championships and things around the state like WVU Children's Hospital, the medical department down there. And you guys have really been involved with so many different charities. It's hard to even think of them all, but it's obviously very important to the company.
Yeah, it goes back to our kind of founding principles that we want to support the community we call home. Our employees employ over 150 employees spread out throughout the region and have a lot of communities and a lot of important things in their life, and then also we just feel that it's our part to do what we can do for our community and especially those who are sick, the children, big supporters of the YMCA, want to give kids opportunity, want to give individuals opportunity to succeed. So we try our best to be part of anything we can.
One thing you did that was pretty cool for the community recently was that you gave away a car, a brand new car. That kind of a little promotion that ran throughout the course of 2018 where any of your customers had a chance to be into that pool, and this week somebody won the car. Yeah,
someone won the car. It was kind of, we always say we truly appreciate and value our customers. The customers of this community and throughout has supported us these 40 plus years. So, everything, no matter if it's something small or something large, we appreciate the business and appreciate the opportunity that our customers give us. So it was something fun that we looked at that we could give to one really, really lucky customer, and then had a handful of other consolation prizes for the rest of those who showed up, and we had a good evening the other night.
Looked like I saw it on Facebook. It said over 3,000 entries and of names that went into the hopper, and you pulled the semifinalists first for like 15. And as you said, everybody that was pulled got a consolation prize, but pretty cool to just have a chance to win a car. It can really make a difference in someone not having a car payment and be able to go through their life and just have that brand new car. Maybe they didn't even have a car. So
exactly. So it was we enjoyed doing something different for some people.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I mentioned earlier when in the show that last time we were on talked a lot about WVU football, and you were on the WVU football team for 4 years when you were in college, and went through a transition of a coach from Coach Stewart to Coach Holgerson. Your last year, and these current WVU players are now experiencing a transition as well, going from Coach Holgerson to Coach Neil Brown. And you had an opportunity to meet Coach Brown here in the last week or so. What was your first impression?
Blew me away, honestly. I obviously still really connected to the program, both with work and personal. So I'd done a lot of research on him and studied his background when all the names were getting thrown around, who the replacement might be. He was impressive on paper and just blew you away in person. Very big process and procedures, very big players first guy, and he has a track record of success. So.
One of the things that he mentioned in some of his introductory remarks is that he really wants to look at in-state players a little bit harder than maybe what's been done in the past. And of course, you having grown up here in Wheeling and played in your high school football here, you end up playing at WVU as an invited walk-on, but then ultimately awarded with the scholarship your last semester there for your work with the team and being, such a great player as part of the, the scout team and being awarded a scout team of the week player and things like that. But Coach Brown has said he's going to look at West Virginia guys a little bit harder than maybe what's been done in the past. I mean, that's got to make you and as somebody that played on that team coming from this state happy to see more guys might get that opportunity.
Yes, for sure. I mean, there's some great hidden gems in the state. Work ethic, second to none for a lot of these kids, and then it makes you kind of cringe a little bit knowing that a couple guys here and there have slipped away. And I mean, we got a guy in the NFL now from West Virginia that never stepped foot on campus in Morgantown.
Sure, Ryan Switzer, he played at North Carolina, yeah.
So every time now he returns a punt or does something, it's just like, man, that was a guy that we missed out on. So I think it's going to be great, and I think it'll be a great experience for these kids that are going to go through a recruiting experience, because it really is a highlight of your high school career to go through that process, and more kids will get to experience it now.
I think it'll also be good for the communities around West Virginia. If you say you're from Huntington and you have a kid from your hometown that ends up playing for WVU, or you're from Fairmont and you have a kid, it makes you always root for the team because it's your team and it's your home state and everything. But to have somebody maybe or you see at Christmas time walking around playing out there or as a part of that team, it makes you root even maybe that much harder for that team.
Yes, for sure, and makes you root harder, and also it's going to make a lot of the young kids possibly try harder or work a little bit harder, because they're going to see a player from their crosstown rival made it D1, so why can't I? So they're going to try a little harder in the weight room, and that's just going to elevate the playing field across the state of what kids can do.
What's it like as a player when a new coach comes in? I mean, as I said, you had to experience that transition from Coach Stewart to Coach Holgerson. It was a little bit of a crazy transition, but it was a transition. What's that like for the players now to have to get used to going from maybe Coach Holgerson's style to Coach Brown's style?
It's a very big learning curve, and not just for the coach, the student athlete. It's a big learning curve. Just seeing how they want you to train, even in practice on drills. You're used to always tackling. This coach might not want you to hit as hard or hit down low and things like that. So just feeling each other out, but comes down to just getting to know outside of football, getting to know the coach, and Coach Brown has made it a point to say that he tries to make it more of a family dinners, pizza parties, and things like that, to where you're calling your coach or your teammates that you're competing against to go out and watch a movie and stuff outside of football and get that bond. So I think that's going to help the transition move a little faster.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch. My first impression has been a good one. I haven't had an opportunity to meet him like you did, but just what I've seen in the press conferences and things like that, it seems like he's got a shot to do well. Yeah,
he's going to put the pieces in line, and we'll just hope they fall accordingly.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you being on the show, and thanks for all you in the company do for the community, and we'll have you back again sometime.
Thank you very much. Look forward to it.
We need to take a break. When we come back, I'll be talking a little bit more sports. We'll talk about some of the craziness of the NFL playoffs this past weekend. Stay with us here on the Jamie Bordas Show.